Yo, what's good, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another Tyler Perry Sisters review. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, then you already know what it is and what it always will be. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell somebody to tell somebody if you choose to. But if not, just sit back, relax while we get into this messy thing. I'll let y'all be the judge if it's messy. But this is part 2 of the questions that I have been receiving. And I got a whole bunch of things going on, which is why there was such a delay in days of me following up with the second part of this video. But I thank you guys for your patience. And we're just going to get right into it. So question number 1 is, what bothers you the most about Sistas? I laughed just like I'm laughing now. When I read that question, I giggled, I chuckled, I laughed. Because I'm like, do I really have the time to say everything? I don't. I don't. But I'm going to give you one thing that really bothers me about this show. It bothers me how we could be watching Sistas, and based on the information that we have been told, we know how certain things go, how certain storylines are, how certain characters met. And then smack dab in the middle of another season, Tyler Perry will write a completely different narrative about the characters of the show. And I'm going to give you guys 2 examples. The first example, the whole Danny, Karen, Zach of it all. Originally, we were told and sold the story that Zach knew Danny before Zach met Karen, although Karen and Danny have been friends since college. It was also told to us that Danny is the one who hooked Zach and Karen up. That's what we were told. Now fast forward to season 2, when Zach and Fatima are about to have sex for the first time. Zach tells us that when he got out of prison, he immediately met Karen. He didn't really have much. Karen moved him into her apartment. And because she had a friend who was a supervisor at the airport, that's how he got his job there. I said, wait a minute. That's not that's not what we have been told this entire time since season 1. Now all of a sudden the narrative have been changed. Okay. And then when Karen, the episode that Karen did, her reading of the letters, that is the story that she stayed with. She met Zach. They immediately got together. So it was like, how did that narrative change? As if we would not remember. Now, the one that pissed me off the most, I will say, is the whole Gary and Hayden of it all. First of all, we know from back in season 1, either late season 1, early season 2, Hayden met Gary through Andy because he was helping Andy. He was even warning Andy how bad of a person Gary was, how she needed to stay away from him. Hayden was telling, Andy that he was her friend, and Andy basically, I don't blame Hayden for being the way that he is to Andy because he was so nice to her in the beginning. He was helping her in the beginning. He even blocked Gary so that Andy could get away from him in the parking garage. And she basically gave that man her ass. The kids told him, "You're not my friend," so on and so forth. So that's how we remember the original story of Andy, Hayden, and Gary. Now come season 7, part A, they gonna play in our face and tell us that Gary and Hayden have known each other since college. Since when? Writers, since when? And I have been trying to extend such a level of grace to these new writers because y'all just got here. You know what I'm saying? They just got here. But it be that kind of stuff right there that pisses me off, that bothers me, because I am so big on continuity that when people come in and destroy that, it takes me out of the story, even though I've been out of the story. I'm just saying that don't make it any better. Because I'm like, what are we doing? You don't respect the story enough to even know how these characters met. So that is something that really bothers me amongst the other 999 things. So moving right along, question number 2. Were you happy that Sistas got renewed for season 8? Absolutely. You didn't ask me, was was I happy about the storylines and the progressiveness of this story? I ain't happy about that, but I am happy that my brothers and sisters still got a job. I am grateful for job security. They still gonna be making that bank. They still gonna be, doing what needs to be done to make sure that they are great financially. So for that and that alone, I am ecstatic. I am happy for them. I am jumping for joy. I am ecstatic. But when it comes to the possibility of where this story of Sisters is gonna possibly go, I don't know. I'm not confident. I'm along for the ride. I'm strapped in this roller coaster and I am along for the ride. But that's about all I got. That is all I have, because I just don't know what we're doing. Like I said, we've made a wrong turn and we have not recovered from that wrong turn. But I am grateful that, these people that I enjoy are still employed, with this show. That I am grateful for. Question number 3. In your opinion, which storyline has taken the biggest L of season 7A? This was a great question because I really had to sit and think about that when it comes to the storylines that we have been presented with in season 7, part A. And I'm going to say that, I don't know if I want to say if it's taken an L though. You might be right with your wording. I was just going to say it's a huge missed opportunity. And it is the storyline of Danny and her therapy. And I know that therapy looks different for everyone. I know that everyone experience with therapy is their experience. And it's not to say an experience is right or wrong or in between. But I think when it comes to the character of Danny, and this is just my opinion, you guys can tell me how you feel too. With Danny, I feel like her actually calling a therapist, setting up an appointment, and having that woman to come over, because of what we have been presented with Danny, I would think that if she went through all of that she would actually be serious about getting the help that she needs and, really becoming the person that she wants to become, laying her bare and really being in a mindset to do the work that it takes. And anyone who has been in therapy, you can go to therapy all day, but if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to do the exercises, if you're not willing to apply the things that you are being taught, going to therapy is not going to help you. And I think some people think, yo, girl, I'm gonna go to therapy. And I'm okay. Going to therapy is one thing, but doing the work is a completely different beast. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it has been a missed opportunity because, in my opinion, Danny has been playing in this woman's face. I understand, like, the first time she could have been, nervous or anxious, and maybe she felt like she wasn't ready, but then going back, I just feel like it has been a joke. Especially, I think one of the last times when Danny spoke to this woman and they were talking about the kids, and Danny started giving her storylines from the Tyler Perry collection. I think it was Acrimony. She gave him like so many storylines, and it's like, no, what's going on with you? What about you? There's enough things that's going on in your life that you can be sincere about it. And I just feel like the ball is being dropped. Now, that's not to say that they won't pick up the ball and, score on the second half of season 7. But like I said, when it comes to this show, I don't have any expectations. I'm just strapped in on the roller coaster and I can't get off. I'm just along for the ride. But I think that storyline for me, it was the storyline that I was looking forward to the most out of everyone's. When preparing for season 7, that's what I was so excited. And then I think, to see where it has gone, the stagnation of it, I think it's just a great missed opportunity, because I feel like there are so many Black women who may be considering going to therapy and may be considering, I don't know how it's going to be. I'm a little nervous. I don't know. And I think having that responsibility, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that everything a Black artist does has to be so deep and so in depth. I am not saying that, but I also understand that there is a responsibility that should be upheld. And even if you are going to make it a jokey joke, the woman that portrays her therapist, I think she does a great job. Her tone, her voice is so welcoming and nurturing. I think they picked the perfect person. But it's like, call Danny out on her stuff. When you see Danny making jokes, when you seeing Danny trying to laugh, let her know that those are defense mechanisms. Those are things that she uses to guard herself from being completely vulnerable in the moment. Like, let's keep it real. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to see. But I enjoyed that question. And that's my response to that. So like, you might be right when it comes to the biggest L, and in addition to it being a missed opportunity. Someone had asked me about my thoughts on the Gary and Andy's breakup because they didn't like it. And I'm gonna be real with you when it comes to Andy and Gary. I don't give two dams. I don't give two hot dams about Gary and Andy as a romantic entity. I think that, number one, it has always been hard for me when it comes to that storyline, because how the hell am I supposed to root or have a vantage point of success for them when you started out as a mistress, sis? You started out as nothing more than a mistress that Gary was boning before he went to work and after he left the gym. Like Andy's reputation for being an upstanding woman, it's never been it for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't judge sis because, we all do what we do. We all have some things that we've done that, we may not be proud of. So it's like them breaking up. I don't even know, when were they together officially? I don't know. I think with Gary and Andy, for me, they have given me such the greatest headaches while watching this show. I was done so long ago. So long ago. But I think the thing that gets me, Andy is one of those characters who, she could do something in the first 15 minutes of the show, and I'd be like, yeah, sis, I'm with you on that. I understand. And then the next 20 minutes of the show, she's making me eat my words. And I go back to I believe it was season 5. It was either season 5 or 6 when Andy had that conversation with Gary in Hayden's office about how they know they are not right for each other. All they do is hurt each other and bring out the worst in each other. And they sat there and they cried them damn crocodile tears about how they do love each other, but it's not going to work. It's never going to work. They need to be apart and they need to grow. Andy probably made the most sense I have ever heard her speak throughout the entire series. And then 40 minutes later, y'all, 40 minutes later, Andy was boning this man on her couch. I said, I'm done. I don't give a damn. I don't have no dams to give anymore when it comes to Andy and Gary. I don't care. I've never rooted for them. I've never liked them together. I've never wanted her with him. I can never understand a woman who just believes your coochie is so much better than his wife. He gonna leave his wife and be with you and be faithful. The Delulu is delusioning. Okay, the Delulu is delusioning, and we got to get up out them waters. All right, Andy is not the person you should be, patterning your life after or wanting to be anything like this chick. All right, I'm sorry, just no. I don't give a damn about them breaking up, break up to make up to wake up, to be dead up when you try to wake up and you can't because Gary unalived you. You run from him. I don't have no thoughts about it. I don't like Gary. No. I don't care about that. So this is the last question because I didn't want this video to be too long, and I'm gonna still make these and got some other things that's happening that I will come back later to. But the last question of the day is, what are your thoughts when you hear fans say that Fatima has the most sense out of the women on the show? That laugh, in addition to Po Little Tank Tanks. Po Little Tank Tanks. Now, don't get me wrong. Everyone has the right to voice their opinion or have their opinion. For me, Fatima gets entirely too much praise for the very things that the other women would get bashed for. And I don't rock with that. I think that some of the things that Fatima has done with Zach, for Zach, to Zach, if the other women did that, they would be dragged across social media. And I just feel like she has the most sense as it pertains to what? Because when I look at Fatima, I think Fatima, I'll say this much. In season 7A, it's been a long time since I don't connect with Fatima, and I think that has always been my issue, that I have a disconnect with her character. But I think in season 7A, I began to see a little more of, the humanistic, vulnerable side coming out, because I don't know women who just walking around like, yeah, put everything on my shoulders, baby, and I'm gonna work it out for you, and I'm gonna do this. Like, you're not Superwoman. You know what I'm saying? You're not Wonder Woman. Yeah, you are Wonder Woman, because I wonder why and I wonder how. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like we were able to see a little more of the vulnerability with Fatima when it comes to the toxicity of her relationship with Zach. Even when that woman got, into school and she didn't want to say anything because she didn't want it to hinder, his excitement from, from getting custody of Michael. She didn't want to tell him. And I'm like, that says a lot, but those are things that are not explored. The fact that something great happened to her, but she doesn't feel that she's in a place to even voice that to her man. And it's not the fact that Zach celebrated her, which I felt that he would. It's the fact that she felt like she couldn't do it. And my thing is, what's the reason you felt like that? Let's explore that. Let's explore the reason that you say you're there to support Zach going to get this DNA test, but when you walk in and you see him, got his hand on Karen's stomach, you instantly have an attitude. What caused you to have the attitude if you're there to support him? Because you don't know what you're walking into. You don't know what that support is how that's going to shape out. So if it's not done the way that you want it, can you still support it? The support only looks like the way that you want it to look like to be fully supported. I don't know. But I just think this season I can appreciate the character a little bit more, because no one is that strong. No one has all the answers. No one can come in and correct every wrong in Zach's life. And I think that particular burden that Fatima has placed on herself, a lot of women do that. A lot of women do that, and then you get burned out, and then you blame the man. Then it's like, can you really blame him? Because some of these things he didn't ask you to do. You took it upon yourself to do. And then you dealing with somebody who ain't going to try to stop you either. So who really is the blame? So I think that Fatima, and I've stated this from the very beginning, I don't think Fatima is any better than any other woman on this show. I don't think that I think for Fatima's fear of being alone drives a lot of her decisions, which a lot of the women, I could say that for a lot of them, but specifically with her, I have been more excited to watch her, being that I could see the crumbling. And not that I want to see the character crumble and fall, but I just want to see the realness of it. Like, I want to see that. Danny gets on my nerves, and it's still F Danny, but it's the fact that Danny is in a relationship with Tony, and I feel she doesn't deserve him. She hasn't done anything to have this type of man in her life, yet we see her spiraling. He got kids. She don't know what to do with it. He's not Preston. He's not the dude she's accustomed to, and she don't know how to deal with that. I can appreciate that, even though I can't stand the hoe. You know what I'm saying? I can appreciate that, though. We see Sabrina with Rich. They both want two different things, and they're staying in it. I don't know why, but they're staying in it until one of them decides they can't do it no more. Do I think it's smart? Absolutely not, but I'm here to watch it. I'm here to see how this happens. I really am. I'm really trying to see how this happens. Andy, child, Karen, and these siblings with these different daddies, baby. Oh, that's gonna be something. But even with Fatima, I'm more interested in finding out about her, learning her outside of Zach, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. I want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for submitting your questions, and all the questions I haven't gotten to yet, I'm going to make it my business to get to them. I just want to thank you guys for your patience and, sticking around and everything like that. I greatly appreciate you. Until next time, I will holler at y'all later, and y'all be safe out there.